Right. All right. Thank you, everyone, and welcome, Antonio. I will pass on the floor to you.
Okay. Thanks a lot, and thanks a lot to all the participants to this webinar. So my role today is to introduce the Encore platform from the perspective of what we call personalized and playful education. So let me start from the challenges that we have defined and written the proposal when we proposed the core projects some years ago. The idea was to develop a platform in order to engage from one side educators, from other side the students, and this platform is based on open educational resources. So from the talk of Andrea of yesterday, we introduced this concept of open educational resources as a way to reuse, create opportunities in an efficient and effective way, with the ultimate goal to develop, let me say, a good learning, you know. And we added one very important aspect in this learning, that is the personalization. The personalization can be done through adaptation, through adaptive learning, and the goal is to develop platforms that are able to adapt to the learning on demand, answering to the needs of the students and educators, but most important to address two main challenges. So the first aspect is to make the OERs effective, so in the sense that they can be reused in an efficient way. From the high level design of the learning experience means when the teacher, the trainer in a company wants to prepare material for the students, for the employee, we need to do this in an efficient way. The second is to have a robust infrastructure in the sense that we can exploit the OERs components, but we can build on top the pedagogical method. So this means that we can exploit the resources, but we need to understand how to use resources and how to exploit them and how to suggest to the end user that are our students or our employees. So for this, we propose a platform for personalized learning. This is based on OERs, as I said, and provide a format, so a set of components in order to teach and to train our end users. So in this slide, I recap a little bit the goal of the core projects. So to reach a circular use of OERs for education. So we started, as we were saying yesterday, from the three different set of skills: green, digital, and entrepreneurial skills. And we have our database. So yesterday we have seen how we can memorize the OERs in our database, in the different skills, how we can add the metadata to these OERs in order to make them usable and reusable by the educators. But we also, in this case, we did a step forward, like how to connect the OER to concept that we want to teach, and especially how to mix these three aspects, the OERs, the skill, and the concepts in a unique map that is a graph of our learning that is the base of our platform. So this means that through the core enablers, we exploit the OERs, but we exploit all the information and the data that are behind each single resource, like what are the skills that it covers, what are the map of concept that we are teaching with these OERs and so on. So for this reason, we had the objective to implement the two enablers, one for the educator and one for the learners, with the objective to design these tools, to use these tools in the designing of courses in order to reach specific skills, to test these tools and the procedure, the pedagogical guidelines that we develop in the projects in order to allow the reusing of OERs, and to provide to the students nice interfaces and a good way to interact with lessons, with learning and assessing. So this means that as the ultimate goal, we could also reach the level of the business model in the sense that we can do innovation in order to make educational university and the schools and in industry in a sustainable way. So in order to realize our platform, we started from a conceptual model. So we started from the classification of what are the concepts that this platform should manage. So in principle, we started from the concept of competence. So this means that each end user, so each learner, uh, since the learner is an actor of our system, should acquire a set of competences in order to fill what we call the competence portfolio. That's, of course, is also part of the requirements that the educator asks in order to be reached by the learners at the end of the course. So each competence item is part of this portfolio, and each competence is a set of concepts in the sense when I reach a certain competence, I reach the knowledge of a certain concept. So, and we go here in the right part of this picture in the sense, in order to reach the knowledge of a certain concept, we define the learning goal aspect, and the learning goal is a set of concepts, as I said, but can be reached in a different way. So each learning goal in our context would be reached using our platform, but in principle using a set of learning activity that the student can execute through learning paths. So this means that we have a concept of learning activity that can be a simple activity, a collaborative activity, a set of activity, a conditional activity, and also that we can also success and failure of each activity. But the most important is that when we define a set of activities, of course, each of them are related to open educational resources, but the sequence or the order in which we execute learning activities will compose what we call learning path. So that is the basic or the core concept of our platform. So where we base all the steps of the pedagogical guidelines that we have developed in the ENCORE project. So the first part of the coin, as I said, was the tool for the educator. So for this, we implemented an enabler for them that is composed in, so that will process 4 principal steps. So the explore phase, the collection phase, the plan phase, and the execution phase. Let's see each step of this process one by one. So the first is discover phase. So the educator will start with the new search in our platform. So through queries, this query can be done writing a simple text. It can be also done using advanced query system, and the teacher can select the topic and the concept that want to cover in the lecture or in the learning part. So this means that we exploit the ENCORE database that we have seen yesterday to extract the main OERs that fit with the query defined by the educator. So this means that upon this step, we go to the collect phase where the teacher can discover the OERs that are relevant for the course, and these OERs can be exported to a classical learning management system like Moodle or Canvas, but can also be used for the learning path definition in the next step. So I collect my OERs that are relevant for the course, and in the plan phase, I exploit these OERs to build the learning path. So how we can do this? So for each OER, we have a set of concepts, and we collect in some way this graph that is the map of concept covered by the OERs that we have selected. So as soon as we have this map of concept, each educator can understand and select and filter what are the main concepts that should be maintained in the course, and that represent in some way the content, the theoretical content of the lecture. After this step, we have the learning path definition in the sense that for each concept that we have selected in the previous step, we can order the concept in the sense we can say, okay, for this concept, we can define a set of a learning activity, and as soon as the student has learned this set of concept, we can go to the second concept, do another part of the learning path, and progress in this execution. So this is the design phase, so the teacher can design the learning path, and this learning path can be also used for open badge generation, in the sense that the educator, as a part of the community, can also share the learning path and receive rewards or recognition using the open badges. So as soon as we have the learning path definition, we can also add material manually, but we can also link each step of the learning path using the OERs that we have already filtered and selected in the discovery and collection phase. So the last phase is the execution, in the sense that this is the part of the student. So the learning path is shared with the student. The student can execute the learning path using a digital tool that can be, for example, Visual Studio Code notebooks or other type of digital tool that can execute the type of activities defined by the teacher. And this execution is done incrementally, in the sense that each step of the execution, we can personalize the activities for the students, studying and analyzing the progress of the learning. So we can understand some phenomena and also propose adaptation during the execution, and also personalization in terms of content or in terms of narrative of the specific learning path. So this means that the teacher can draw the graph. This means this is a learning path for specific lectures, including certain type of activities. The edges in this graph will represent the progression of the execution, that the student can fail or the student can pass. And upon to this validation assessment, we can suggest different type of activities. So when the learning path is modeled, we can also execute this learning path using the notebooks. This is an example on the right side where we can propose the exercise to the students, see the progress, the execution, and at a certain point we can also give the feedback to the students, like with gamification elements like points or rewards, or simply feedback related to the specific learning activity, like errors in the code or errors in the quiz done, and so on. So this means that the editor is a graph-based editor, so we cannot model very complex learning paths. But during the project, we also exploit the possibility to use a generative AI as a component to help the teacher to create content while defining the learning path. So this means that the learning path can be contextualized and personalized for the class that we have at the moment, using also the power of generative AI, especially if it is contextualized to the material that is provided by the teacher. So before to go to the gamification part, let's see a little bit the platform. So this is the core platform that I was discussing in the previous slides. So as you can see, you can discover your research to keywords. So for example, I want to find OERs on data science, so I can search on the database. On the database will return the set of OERs available for this kind of topic and concept. For each OER, we can see the type of OERs, like structural material. We can see the description. We can go to the link of OERs. We can understand what are the concepts covered by the resource, and all the information that's are maintained in the database and make these OERs usable and reusable. So they are classified also by the skills that we cover in the projects, and we can see also what are the map of concepts that are connected to the OERs that we have selected, but also the type of resources that we have now in this selection, this filtering, starting from instructional material, reading full course, or assessment material, software, and case studies, and so on. This will help the teacher to filter again the uh, the the OERs in order to, for example, to select simply presentations that we can also reuse in our course. Of course, as soon as the teacher has collected the resources, the teacher can create folders of relevant resources that can be used in the course. They can be also filtered by quality, by the number of time that's the resources have been used and so on. The last update, we can also filter. We can download the set of OERs as a JSON file and import in Moodle, for example. And we can also start to select the concept that we want to use in the course, for example. No? So as soon as we have defined this, we start to design the learning path. So this means that the teacher can define what is the experience of the teacher, what is the educational context, for example, university, what is the group dimension, medium, what is the learner experience, so beginner, for example. No? So we start to configure what is the educational scenario of our system. So after that, we go to the learning objective facility, so we can generate learning objective for the educator using contextual information like the data science course, the set of OERs that we have filtered, the set of skill and concept that we want to cover, and more important, the level of learning that we want to reach. For example, in this case, we are using the Bloom the taxonomy to select what is the right level for this kind of learning path, and also select the verb that we want to cover in this lecture. So we can specify the context, like create a lecture for a specific experience, but we can also generate a learning objective using generative AI. So this means that generative AI will exploit all the information of the learning scenario and can generate a sentence that can be eventually modified by the teacher. So when we have defined the learning objective, we can pass to the final step, that is the generation of a lesson plan. So again, we use generative AI here to generate our lesson plan, exploiting the OERs that we have selected, the learning objectives defined by the teacher, and all the possible information that we have defined in the definition of the course. So the system will provide to the teacher a table with a set of learning activities automatically generated. So the system will propose a schema of the module composed by learning activities or assessment activity, and also propose the type of activities related to the specific level of the taxonomy that we have selected. So we have also mapped each level of the taxonomy to a specific set of activities that are good and relevant to be provided for this type of learning path. Of course, there is a description of the learning activity, and also the time that the teacher can set for the learning path. So of course we can also add activities on the table. We can also edit. We can save the table. We can also move one activity before the other one. We can also delete the single line of the table, and so on and so forth. So as soon as the teacher is ready for the learning path, this learning path is saved in our database. It can be also exported, for example, as a PDF. So we can also print our plan with all the description, and this can be material that the user can use, for example, for the website or to share with the students or with the employee. So this is the core platform. Let's come back now to my presentation, because as soon as the teacher has defined the learning path, now is the part at the moment of the student. So the student should execute the learning path. Okay. And for this, we exploited this gamification concept in the sense to provide engaging and personalized learning. We need to understand first what are the needs of the students. And gamification includes a lot of aspects that, in my opinion, are very useful if you want to personalize and make your lectures and your training more engaging. So motivation, user engagement, learning. You can also define challenges. Of course, you need to have rewards, but at the end, the ultimate goal is the achievement. So what do you achieve with this important tool? And for this, we have implemented the tool for the students, in the sense the other part of the platform, also the enable for the student with this platform is able to execute learning paths, can use the open educational resources provided by the teacher, can also exploit the generative AI to dynamically create different type of activities that respond to the needs of the students. And of course, gamification is a tool that we have there for doing an immersive learning and doing also assessment activities that are guided by a specific narrative. Okay, and for this we have the extending the tool. In terms, we have the graph. We have also the possibility to select that impact from the student side, and we have implemented the tool in order to make. Let me skip this. Let me go directly to the point. So we have the integration with tools. So, for example, in this case, with modeling tools for specific exercises. But we have also the possibility to have collaboration and motivation, and we have also the possibility to integrate automatic grading facility to the execution of the learning part, and of course the generation and the support of generative AI to generate the content on demand while the learning part is executed. So the tool is based on work adventure in the sense this is a map-based tool where the student can follow a specific path inside the space, the two-dimensional space, and can execute the different activities in each room. Each room is devoted to a specific tool and a specific learning activity that the student can execute in isolation or in collaboration with other students. So let me show you just a small video about this part.
Antonio, we don't hear anything. I don't know if you're commenting. Or you could comment because there is no audio in this video. It's kind of difficult to follow. Okay, I'm gonna interrupt Antonio, unless it's the only me that doesn't hear anything. I don't think Antonio is hearing me.
The same. I think he hears
the audio of his computer. Yes. I stop his video. Hopefully, Antonio, do you hear us? Actually, Bo, I don't think I have host right. If you could stop the video and the sharing, maybe we manage to have him back.
Yeah. Antonio, we could not hear you.
Okay.
We could not hear you. Or there was no audio to the file.
But have you listened to the video? Have you followed the video?
We could only see it, but there was no noise at all.
And we tried to tell you, but
No.
you couldn't hear us. So the only way to grasp your attention was to stop you a second.
Okay. Sorry for this. I can share you in.
It was very interesting. And the fact is that the image was too small to figure it out what was happening. So maybe you could do a small sum up.
Okay, so the idea is the following. Let me share you Do you see my screen now? Okay. Let me show you one point. So the point is the following. So when you reach, do you see this image right now? Yeah, yes.
Not yet.
No, you're
Not
not
yet.
sharing, Antonio.
Okay, I don't know why this is not sharing. Just a moment. Zoom.
Yes. You can see your screen now.
Okay, now you see the screen. Okay.
Yes.
So the point is the following. So when the student will enter the space, can select the learning path that is available and provided by the teacher. So as soon as the learning path is selected, so they can enter the space and can start to follow the path. So you can see here, so the path versus the next activity. So means follow the zone in the map that is where the next activity can be executed. So means a read material activity. So I can read material here, can do a step forward and do a multiple choice question about the material. And the students remains in the same zone. I can do a true or false question activity in the same part, and the system will validate the results. And another multiple choice. And as soon as this zone is finalized, the system will say, okay, now you need to navigate to the next, like this. And you can see you can also receive badges and gamification elements while execute the learning path upon to the assessment activities. So you can go to the next assignment. You can open the specific editor for the modeling activity. You can model your exercise. You can draw your diagram. You can validate through the submit button here. And as soon as the grading is in progress, the grading can return the results. And you can also receive the ultimate badge for the mission that you have reached. So this means that the learning path that is defined by the teacher is executed and validated step by step by this work adventure platform. So of course, in order to conclude this part, we also introduced the Visual Studio Code notebooks in the platform in order to do coding exercises. We have also added Alexa adapter to execute the quizzes by voice. But in general, what we have realized is a playful and educational platform to personalize adaptive learning. So it means that we do playful learning through digital learning paths, exploiting the student profile and also the gamification elements. So, and this is the core part of the personalized and adaptive digital learning path that we implemented in the Encoder platform. Of course, we have also implemented other tools in the same ecosystem. So, for example, we have this Hugging Face page where the teacher can use a URL of a specific website or a specific material and can generate using generative AI different type of assessment activity like fill the gap, open question, multiple choice, and in the future also other extra activity. So sorry for the inconvenience of the video, but this is done from my side. Of course, if you have questions and comments, I'm very happy to answer to that.
Thank you very much, Antonio. I see Alessandra already raised her hand.
Yes, of course. Thank you very much, Antonio. Glad we stopped you because otherwise we would have missed to understand some very important part, and it's really cool. Congratulations to you and your team. It's really looking amazing. And I want to ask you something, two things. First, if this platform that you were showing, particularly the game scenario gamification side, works for multiple students. And the second, you were mentioning that the OER system, the platform you showed before, to construct the learning path that is integrated with the LLM. Is the case also with this second one that you show us, the gamified one?
Yeah, so about the generative AI from the educational side, from the educator side, so here we have also, of course, we have generative AI in the sense that to generate and design the learning path, as you have seen before, to generate the learning objective, also to generate lesson plan in the back end, there is the OpenAI APIs. So we already defined a set of prompts to generate a learning objective, to generate some plans, but to generate also concrete activities. We also have another tool that is this create page, in the sense we can also create a specific activities here. For example, we can take a website where we can take a material. For example, we are doing a course on prompt engineering, so we can use the URL of our material. We can analyze the material that we have and we are using for our next lecture. And the system, we generate the topics, so extract the topics from this material. For example, I want to do introduction on prompt engineering. So I will configure my lecture on the target level, the Bloom level that I want to cover, the assignment type, the creativity of AI, and we generate step by step the content. So starting from the learning objective, and we continue with the specific activity. For example, if you want to generate a multiple choice quiz, we can configure the parameters of the generation, and here is the time that we can call generative AI to generate the exercise. So here you can see the title of the exercise, the task that the student should do, the assignment, the solution explained, and the multiple choice quiz generated by AI with the selected correct answer. Okay? So of course the teacher here can modify the exercise. I can save, and when this is saved, it's saved in our database. So it's saved in our OER database. This is from the educator side. So the other side for the students, so as soon as we have the learning path defined, so here we can share these with the students, and we have the work adventure platform that I can share with you. That is probably this. So we enter in the work adventure platform. So of course, if you use this link that probably I can share on the chat, you can enter in the same environment. Okay, so this means that I was answering to your second question, Alessandra, if this is an environment for only one student or for the community of students. Of course, any student that is in the room can interact, and you can navigate in the map. And so when you enter, when other user will enter the environment, you meet them. You can also open, as in this case, let me show you this aspect that is important in my opinion. I don't know how to close this. Okay, you can enter here, and you can also go to the peer review room where you can open the webcam and discuss with your teacher or with other peers. Okay, so but if you try the tool and if you play with other students or other colleagues, you can see that this is a collaborative. Okay.
Very nice, thank you, Antonio. And this can be integrated also in a Moodle or LLM, LMS system. So
of course, in what you can do, you can share the links of this environment as soon as the teacher has defined the learning path. The link can be shared with the students, and the student can have access to the same environment.
Nice. And it doesn't have a limit. So if I have, for instance, a MOOC and the link is shared with multiple students can the system handle?
Yes, of course. This is a parallel system. So any student that its own ID and each execution of a learning path is related to the specific student.
And there are other questions, otherwise I continue with Antonio.
Yeah.
Did you tested this like gamification, no gamification, so experimental, not experimental? Did you have the chance to test it?
Not yet. We have presented this part of the platform in a conference 2 weeks ago. Now the plan is to use it with students, but of course, if there is some educator or some trainer that want to use it with specific learning path, we can help him to define it, and we can run very interesting experiment, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think we can talk later. I have some idea, Antonio, but I'll leave the space to other because you know that we can talk forever, but the webinar has to continue, right? Bo, I give the floor to you.
Thank you very much. I guess there are no other comments or questions anymore. Let's see.
Okay.
I hear some people talking, so feel free to. No? Okay. Then we thank you, Antonio, for leading this presentation and presenting this interesting part of the ENCORE project as well. Very interesting. We will share the presentation and the recording via our Eventbrite later on afterwards on the website. I will put it in the chat now as well. And tomorrow is already our third and our last day of the official ENCORE webinar week with a new presentation about using skills intelligence using artificial intelligence. So don't miss it. This time tomorrow it will be 1.5 hours earlier, just like yesterday. It will be from 1 o'clock till 2 o'clock. So don't miss it. And we will thank you for being here and joining us today. Antonio, do you have any remarks you want to leave?
No, thanks a lot for the time, and see you.
Thank you, everyone.